Hello, everyone. I'm joined by the support player from Vendetta, and today to talk about stage
Hello.
4. Made playoffs, got into top 8, everything's going quite well. But before we get into the details of the team and the tournament and the meta and all of that, I want to ask you how you're handling your newfound fame. Because it's sort of, I imagine I think it probably came as a surprise to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But maybe a surprise to you as well.
I think initially how it started was as like kind of just a meme, you know? It's like, I don't know, it's like generally like kind of known in the community that I'm like a very mid-tier player, I think. People are just seeing it as a meme. But now it's kind of like blowing up and I'm like, well, I don't know. It doesn't really feel any different for me, you know? Like I like the fame, but it doesn't like make me treat the game any different or make me play the game any different or like it's just like, I don't know. It's nice nice to see this much support coming in. You know, like even though it started as a meme, it kind of became into like this thing that actually does help me and makes me play the game, makes me want to play the game more. You know, because I see so many people like support me, and yeah, that's a really great feeling.
Well, people become actually invested now.
Yeah,
well. So
exactly.
All of a sudden,
it started as a meme and then kind of transitioned into
Yeah.
something that they actually like support me and it actually helps me, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, so because it seems like now every time Vendetta do well or they win a game and it's a player interview, you're always the first name on a list every single time.
It's so much fun though. Yeah. Like I'm actually having so much fun. Like you don't even understand. Like, yeah,
well, no, that's perfect. I'm happy for you because you're selling your own. I think were you selling your own merch before?
No, okay. I was selling my own merch before, and then the entire ANJ meme thing came around, and I saw like how many people were like spamming it, and like how much of a hype it became. I was like, okay, I gotta play on that. So I
mean, you'd be crazy not to actually. You'd be crazy
exactly,
not to.
Yeah. I asked someone to help me design just a shirt. I just wanted to like one piece of merch and see how it goes, and we just designed one shirt, and there you go. I'm selling my ANJ merch right now. So.
Are you going to Stockholm? Obviously, Vendetta can only qualify by winning, but are you planning to go to Stockholm anyway? Since you're,
I was planning to go there, but I made different plans with to see my girlfriend. So unfortunately, I won't be able to go to Stockholm. We were talking about it together. Maybe we go to Stockholm together, but no, it's well, unfortunately we're not gonna go.
I was gonna say it's because there's a bit of me that's like I'm sort of trying to figure out how expectant I should be to see. How many shirts to see? How much fan support on the ground? Because I presume you saw already when it was at the Korea, the Asia Land playoffs.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
sign in the crowd.
Yeah, so that was like, crazy.
This is obviously. I feel like in Stockholm, in Europe, I feel like this is going to be like.
Let's say I can tell you there's going to be a couple of t-shirts, a couple of ANJs walking around proudly with their shirts, like throwing that swag around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going to be a couple. You'll probably see a couple of them.
Yeah, well, it was funny as well because originally I was talking to Hybrid because I know Hybrid from Times on London. Yeah, I was asking if he was interested in the interview, and he was like, "I can if you want, but you should talk to ANJ." Yeah, he was like,
"He told the same thing to me as well." Yeah.
He's like, "I'll do it if you want, but here's what you could do." So here we are. So we should probably talk about the actual Overwatch as well at some point. So you joined Vendetta for this stage. You've been on quite a few different teams this year.
Yeah.
How did you end up on Vendetta then for this final stage?
So as some of you probably already knew, I was in Oblivione before, and that team, like at the end of the Faceit League and OWCS stage as well, every single person on that team basically got a different offer. So we started people like trickling away basically, and at some point we were left with like not even a core of 2 people. So we were like, okay, you know what, like. Everybody, it's over.
Time.
The entire roster basically went to Hypnos, so Hypnos is Oblivione now. And from there on out, I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to start looking for another team again. And I got Hybrid into my DMs saying like, okay, I have this opportunity for you. And I had a couple of different opportunities as well. I also had Quick Esports, and I'm glad to say I took the right decision.
Well, it works out all right, isn't it?
Yeah. That was honestly a kind of nerve-wracking game because that was going to show to me like, okay, did I make the right decision or did I make the bad decision? But fortunately, we won against them. So yeah, basically that's how it happened. Yeah.
And then groups actually went. It felt kind of straightforward in the end. Like obviously you play Ents, and then hard to play Ents, lose to Ents. Then you play Wasp. Felt like you dealt pretty handily, really, with all the potential one-trick stuff and all the like the Junkrat and all of this.
Yeah.
Did you do much preparation, or was it just because you kind of just played the Arista comp against them anyway?
Yeah, true. No, we did not really do any like very thorough investigation or whatever. It was mostly just like, okay, we know they're gonna play this. We know they're gonna play ball and these one trick heroes. And basically, what we did is just like an hour before the match started, we were just like talking to each other. Okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. This is our play style. This is how we're gonna adapt. If they do these kind of things, then we're settled. We're good. We know what to do. We know what to focus on in the game, and that's exactly what happened as well. Like we went into the game, and exactly these things that we talked about happened. Like, so it's honestly it's not even that much of a difficulty to deal with one trick teams, because you know what they're going to play. You know how to counter it. But if you play against teams that play the standard comp, then there's not that much you can really counter comp, because every team plays it differently.
Yeah, and then I wanted to talk to you a bit about the team as well, because obviously you're new coming into the team. What's the internal dynamic like? Because obviously you don't have a coach, if I'm right. You don't have a... So what's the internal dynamic like in terms of like, how do you figure out these problems? Is there someone who takes like more responsibility for like, here's how we play? Or is it kind of...
I think you know already. I think you know already what's coming, right? I think you know already. It's hybrid.
Yeah.
Hybrid is like a very... how do you say it? He's a very strong leader, I would say. He's very, very strict, very strong, but it's like, okay, remember at high school, if you would go to school and you have like certain different kinds of teachers, right? You have the teacher that just basically lets everything happen and it's like, okay, just figure it out. And then you have that one teacher that's like, you cannot do this. You have to do this. You have to do your homework. And if you don't do your homework, then you are done, That's basically hybrid. It's like we're kind of looking up to him and we're like, okay, we're listening to what plans he makes. And it's really good to have a leader like that, to be honest, because I don't know, like having a coach is nice. Having a coach that does that for you is also really nice. But I feel like hybrid is kind of filling both those roles. He's like making sure that the team stays in check and that we do what, basically just do what feels right. Like how to win the game. And he shows us that really well. Yeah.
I think especially like as a coach before, we'd always talk about, like me and Chris as well, how we can give so much information, but what you also really need is somebody in the server who can lead.
Exactly,
happens. So having a player like that is a huge benefit, I think, to any team.
Yeah, at some point, as a coach, there's only so much you can do, Like you only have so much effect. And a person that is actually in the game that has that same view as the coach, that's perfect, because that person can lead the team during the game, which is the most important part, during the game. You can't really, as a coach, you cannot do anything during the game, during the match. You can maybe in the middle of after like a round is over, you can like say a couple of things, but during the fights, there's nothing you can do as a coach.
Well, yeah, it's really hands off the keyboard. Just got to trust the team now and hope it works out.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I imagine as well, because I feel like China, Cookie, Cronus, I think from my experience with them, they're all relatively quiet players as well. Does that also mean hybrid is 90% of the comms as well in terms of saying everything?
I would say yes, during scrims for sure. But I felt like during the officials, there's like this different energy, like a newfound energy. And I don't know where it comes from. I mean, obviously, it's like also like it's an official game. You need to like play on the top, be on the top of your game, So people start trying a bit more. And what I notice when I play with different teams that do have a lot of people that are communicative, it becomes too much during an official. You have all these people that are trying way too much and talking way too much over each other. And it becomes chaotic, But in this team, it feels like it's like on this perfect point, like where you're in an official and people are, yes, they're trying a bit more, they're being a bit more communicative, and yes, you're right, like they're a bit more quiet players. But then they open up, during an official, and it's like this perfect dynamic. Like there's not too much happening in the comms.
And then I wanted to talk to you a little bit about as well, because do you work full time as well?
I work part time. Yeah.
So you've got to balance the scrim schedule and the work schedule.
Yeah. So
how difficult is that?
Well, it depends. Well, because I can choose the nights that I work. So I work night shifts, right, at the hotel. I work night shifts, so I combine scrims basically from 18 until 22, and then after 22, I go to work. And basically, that's just like it fits perfectly, But also, if I have like an official or I need to like go somewhere, or I have like a couple of days that I want to like really focus on the game, I can just tell my job like, okay, this night I'm not gonna work. And that's it. It's very like it's very free. Yeah, it's very free. So it's good.
Okay, yeah, that's probably as good as you can ask for, given like all the different responsibilities.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a perfect combination, and I don't feel like mentally exhausted. I don't feel like physically exhausted at all. It's like this is like the perfect combination between work and like, well, work and work, because I see gaming as work as well, you know. So it's like, yeah,
the two jobs,
like, yeah, exactly, the two jobs, yeah. But no, it's fine. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling energetic most of the time. So it's it's good.
All right, and then I want to get your take on the meta as well, because obviously, pretty much every region has come to the same consensus. Juno Brig is going to be played in pretty much every situation. Obviously, with Juno and Brig, a lot of teams have had to sort of figure out which support plays which role. You and Cronus do have some overlap in heroes, and both have experience on Brig. How did you figure out who was going to be in what position?
It was a little bit of a struggle, because in the beginning, we were not really sure what the meta was going to be. So we saw teams playing these Lucio Juno comps with Orisa. First, we started playing the meta. We started playing Brig Juno, and then at some point we were like, okay, well, this is working for other teams, so let's try this out. It worked for a week perfectly. It worked perfectly for a week. And we were like, okay, yeah, but Hybrid already knew. He told us beforehand, like, okay, yeah, but this is always what happens. Like when a new meta approaches, these brawl comps are always appear to be really good, but they're not actually good. It's just like a facade, you know. It's like fake. So we noticed that after a week, we had to switch back into the old meta, and we also had a period, I think about a week, where I tried playing Juno and Cronus was on Brig. After 1 week, I told the team, okay, guys, I don't feel mechanically very confident on this hero. Like, yes, okay, we're getting similar results as before, but I don't really feel like that comfortable on hero. So at some point, we changed back again to Brig Juno with me on Brig and Cronus on Juno. And now we've kind of like found our place like in the composition. And the same thing happened also with the DPS. We've tried so many different like DPS, and now we're kind of like falling back with China on like heroes that he was not comfortable on, and now he's playing them in scrims and he is comfortable on. I'm not going to say specifically which heroes because for obvious reasons, but yeah, I feel like we're comfortable in the meta right now, and it's good. We found our place. Oh.
And then I want to ask about Brig specifically, because I feel like this happens maybe a lot of time with Brig, where it's a really difficult role to live on, a really difficult role to get right. It's the sort of role that also with the team is something goes wrong in the team. But Brig is the one who gets punished first, or is the most vulnerable character.
Yeah.
So how do you go about managing all those difficult situations and trying to find the right balance of not dying, but also not just being back of a map?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just adaptation, man. It's adaptation, and it's not just about the compositions that you're playing against as Brig, because obviously that's also like this is the most important part. But it's also like the playstyle that certain teams have. Some teams, they focus a lot more on killing the Brig. Okay, I play a bit more safe, you know. There's some teams that focus more on shooting tank or shooting like DPS, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play a bit more aggressive, you know. But it's for the compositions, for example, like when we played against the Ramatra comp, it's like a completely different playstyle. If you compare it to the playing against the Orisa comp, yes, there's some similarities, but against the Ramatra comp, I would have to play a lot more safe than against the Orisa comp. And yeah, it's just all about adaptation and seeing like how certain teams react to certain play styles that you have. You know, like if I play more aggressive against a certain team and they don't punish me for it, then I will keep playing aggressive, you know. And if I do the same thing against another team that does punish me for it, I take it in mind for the official, and I'll be like, okay, well, they definitely will focus me down if I do show any kind of like aggression. So yeah, it's a lot about adaptation.
And then overall, do you feel like it's actually a good meta for your team in terms of like what's involved hero-wise and the style of play?
I do think it does fit us very well, especially because Hybrid didn't play Orisa in the beginning of the meta, and then I saw him play Orisa in some scrims, and I was like, bro, why did you not want to play this hero? Like, and it's just like we just like didn't really know about like each other's like strengths, you know, like hero pool wise, because we haven't played with each other in a team before. I think at least like I think Cronus and Hybrid have played together before, but for me personally, I didn't have a lot of experience with the rest of the players. I played a little bit with Cookie as well, I think, but I just didn't really know the players and their strengths a lot. So seeing them on these heroes that I've honestly myself never really expected them on to be, and playing this well, it actually surprises me, and I feel very, very confident in this meta right now with the heroes, with the players that we have and the heroes that they play.
And then if we look at the bracket now, we find ourselves in your first game coming up later today is against versus Pro.
Yeah,
obviously one of the top teams. Very much their mission is very much to finish top 3, secure their spot at Stockholm. So very high pressure game for them, all of these matches this weekend. How confident do you feel going into that matchup today?
Very, very confident. Seeing like how we performed against certain teams that we honestly, I'm not even gonna joke, okay? But Cronus made a joke before, and he said like, okay, we don't have to play next weekend because we're probably gonna lose. I was like, Wait, hold on. And so far for like confidence, so far for like believing in the team, right? But he was just like, yeah, I'm just being a realist, you know, like the way he says it, you know, with the Scottish accent is like being a realist, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess, and then we win the game, you know. So you never know what's gonna happen, you never know. But I generally feel so incredibly confident going into this match against Virtus.pro today. It's like, yeah, and the confidence is going to be so important, you know, in these matches. Like going up against bigger teams, you could get frightened really easily. You can change your playstyle because you get scared. Like, oh, these are really good players, we need to be careful. But that's just not how you're going to win the game, you know. Like, you need to go into it like, okay, sure, these guys are good, but you know what, we are better. So yeah.
I think as well, because obviously your only path to like somehow qualify for Stockholm would be to win the tournament, which would take, you know, like a lot of things to line up. But really, for you, compared to a lot of the teams in this tournament, you guys can just play to get as far as you can.
There's less pressure. Yeah.
Everyone else, it's do or die. Twisted Lines, piece of cake. Virtus.pro, it's all like their entire season kind of comes down to this and how they do. So if stuff starts going wrong, it's like a very high pressure situation.
For them, there's a lot of pressure. For us, there's a little bit less pressure, but that's not going to change the way that we approach the game. You know, like it's all these different influences can like have so much effect on like how you go into the game. But I'm just going to be like, okay, well, whatever. It's a good team. Yeah. Okay. I respect them. Yeah. But I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to ANJ, mow them down, you know, just fucking roll them down, man.
And then obviously the ideal would be to win, but what kind of result or performance would you need from this tournament to sort of look back on it and go, okay, I'm happy with that, or happy with how it turned out, or how far we got?
Honestly, I already think that we, like what I said about Chorus before, we kind of overshot our expectations already, because we were just looking at like scrim results and stuff like that, and it was kind of mid. I'm gonna be honest here, Commander X, like it's kind of mid, you know. So like we already kind of overshot our expectations. I think from this point on, I'm just like, I'm already happy with the results, and I will be even more happy. Like everything from this point on will be just a plus, you know. And I'm glad that we are at this stage already, you know. Like I'm really, really glad, and I want to show the people that that we still like that we are a really, really strong team, and we are actually capable of beating top teams like Virtus.pro. Maybe even ENS, maybe even Space Station. Okay, I might be too confident here, but you know, like
I'll ask you again in a few
I gotta
hours.
shoot high. Exactly. No, you gotta aim high, bro. You gotta aim high. You gotta have confidence in this life, because otherwise you're not gonna get anywhere. You know, like, yeah.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much, ANJ. I appreciate your time. Best of luck for the whole weekend. I'm sure we'll be tuning in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.